Anton LaVey, founder of the Church of Satan, wrote, "If you are really ugly, you must capitalize on your grotesqueness." LaVey knew that being beautiful had many advantages, but according to LaVey, being what people considered really unattractive could also have advantages because at least you weren't the worst thing to be, which is just average looking. Jesse Donald Knotts was not grotesque looking, but he definitely did not have the Hollywood leading man kind of looks, although that's what he became by capitalizing on what he had. Don Knotts was born in a small town in West Virginia in 1924, which seems about as far from making it to Hollywood as you can be. While in high school, he was performing as a ventriloquist and comedian at various church and school functions. After high school, he went to New York City to try and make his way as a comedian, but his career failed to take off. He returned home and attended West Virginia University. After his first year, World War II had kicked off, so he joined the Army and spent most of his time entertaining troops in a GI variety show. After this, he went home and finished college. But he had made a few small connections in the entertainment world, which led to him doing stand-up comedy, appearing on radio, and even doing a few television skits. From there, he got a small role in a stage play starring Andy Griffith called No Time for Sergeants, which was also made into a movie which he got to appear in. Then Andy Griffith got offered a TV show and Knotts became a character on it. The show was a hit and Griffith told Knotts that he planned to quit after 5 seasons to go into movies. Griffith was getting other career offers, but Don Knotts knew he was typecast as the bubbling Barney Fife. So he did what he always did, made a few connections on set, and during a hiatus, got offered a role in a movie called The Incredible Mr. Limpet. It's part animation and a cute kid movie. It didn't do very well at the box office, but he didn't stop there. At the end of one of the Andy Griffith Show seasons, Knotts asked 2 of the sitcom's writers if they would work on a screenplay for him during the hiatus. These guys weren't big-time movie writers. They were also looking for more opportunities, so they agreed. A studio picked up the screenplay on the condition that it had a limited budget and be shot in 17 days. Knotts was a little concerned about that, but he jumped into it. The plot of The Ghost and Mr. Chicken has Don Knotts' character, Luther, working as a typesetter for a newspaper, and he aspires to be a reporter. He's not taken seriously, and his peers knock him when his report of a murder that occurred near a supposed haunted mansion turns out to be a local drunk, knocked unconscious by his angry wife. One reporter named Ollie teases Luther over his mistake. Ollie is dating Alma, on whom Luther has a crush. While at work, he was asked to fill some filler to the paper. Luther learns from the newspaper's janitor named Kelsey that the mansion was the site of a supposed murder-suicide, where Mr. Simmons is thought to have killed his wife with garden shears, then leaping to his death from the organ loft. Legend has it that the ghost of Mr. Simmons can still be heard playing the organ at midnight. Luther writes a story about it, and when the editor reads the article, he assigns Luther to spend the night there on the 20th anniversary of the murder-suicide and write about his experience. Luther's afraid, but knowing that this is his big chance to become a reporter, as well as an opportunity to impress Alma, he accepts the job. While staying at the mansion, he throws a book in a bookshelf to silence some strange sounds which are keeping him awake, accidentally opening a hidden passage to the organ loft. At midnight, the blood-stained organ begins to play by itself. Luther runs downstairs and finds pruning shears stabbed in the painting of Mrs. Simmons, with blood pouring from her neck. Luther runs home and writes the story, which makes him famous in town, and he begins dating Alma. Nicholas Simmons, the nephew of the dead couple, had been planning to demolish that mansion, but his banker now refuses to close the deal due to his spiritualist wife considering it a local landmark. Nicholas attempts to discredit Luther by taking him and that newspaper to court, accusing them of libel and of Luther making the story up to get a job as a full-time reporter. The judge orders the jury to reconvene at that mansion before midnight to settle the issue. At the mansion, Luther is unable to get the hidden passageway to open again. Everyone leaves, convinced Luther lied about what happened. But Alma remains to continue searching for the secret passage. Luther, dejected, starts to walk home but hears the old organ and finds it being played by Kelsey. Kelsey confesses to staging what happened that night but was unable to help Luther confirm his story as he was kept out of the mansion by a cop. Kelsey, who once worked at that mansion as a gardener, says someone used his garden shears as the murder weapon to try and frame him, and he wanted to use Luther to help expose the true cause of the Simmons' death. They hear a scream from the secret passageway and find Nicholas holding Alma captive. Kelsey accuses Nicholas of murder and of wanting to tear down the mansion to destroy the hidden passageway he used to hide in after killing the Simmons. Luther rescues Alma, Nicholas is arrested, and Kelsey explains everything. Alma and Luther get married, and at the end of the wedding, the organ music plays the same song played in the mansion heard by Luther. Everyone turns to see the organ's keys moving all by themselves, hinting that there really is a ghost after all. The Ghost of Mr. Chicken's budget was $500,000 and grossed $4 million in the first 5 months after its release. While Andy Griffith stayed on his television show a few more seasons because of the success of The Ghost of Mr. Chicken, Don Knotts went on to appear in many more movies, TV shows, and do voiceovers for cartoons, even getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2000. He died in 2006, and his hometown theater in West Virginia erected a statue honoring him. This weird, quirky, unattractive guy starts out with nothing in a small rural town in the middle of nowhere and became a famous TV and movie star. So, if you have tried your hardest to fit in with society around you, but couldn't because you were just too weird, quirky, and unattractive, maybe take up Anton LaVey's advice and forget about looks-maxing, face fillers, or Botox. Instead, fully embrace your grotesqueness and be grateful that while you'll never be one of the so-called beautiful, at least you won't be called just average. Good night.
Didn't you? Kill them both for the money and then try to pin it on me. I'll kill her, Kelsey. Ah!
Boo.